Welcome to the Sharing Without Shame podcast, dedicated to parents and anyone else who loves someone in active addiction. Education is a powerful tool in breaking down stigma, fostering understanding, and ultimately helping individuals and their loved ones navigate the challenges of addiction. With Donna Marston, author of Peeling the Onion and Sharing Without Shame. So take a deep breath and grab some tissues as we uncover the stories of love, courage, and unwavering support in the face of adversity, as Donna and her guests share their stories without shame. Because when we share our stories without shame, we inspire others to do the same.
Hello, and welcome to the Sharing Without Shame podcast. I'm your host, Donna Marston, and today's podcast is sponsored by Snap Bands. It's a behavioral therapy bracelet, and this is what it looks like. Mine says blessings. And the cool thing about this, the packaging, show you the packaging is right here, and it said, I am a blessing, and I never thought of myself that way. I count my blessings every day as a true blessing. I share blessings with the world. I'm grateful, thankful, and blessed. So I wear this almost every day, and it's snap therapy. So if you're having a bad thought or a craving or whatever, you just give it a little snap and it snaps you right out of it. If you'd like to order one, go to www.snapbands, that's snappbandz.com, and under comments, write SWOS or Sharing Without Shame so that they know that you heard about the bands from me. And so today I would like to welcome Jennifer Young. She's a mother of 3 and the founder of ConnectMio. I hope I'm saying that right. An app designed to support families affected by alcoholism. After experiencing the challenges of loving someone with an alcohol use disorder, Jennifer became passionate about breaking isolation and providing resources for others on similar journeys. Through her work, Jennifer is committed to breaking the isolation, fostering resilience, and equipping families with the tools to manage their daily challenges with strength and hope. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. First thing I would like to ask you is, what would you like to share without shame?
That I stayed. I think that there tends to be a lot of shame around staying and loving
Mm-hmm.
and being with an alcoholic. That wasn't the case for me. Like, yes, you kind of go through those phases of you don't want people to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my story to share, but
Mm-hmm.
it is because I was living it too.
Yeah. And you know what I learned is that I can't share my son's story, but I can share my story.
Hmm.
Right? We have the right to do that. And for me, I got permission to, if I share parts of my son's story, it's because I have permission from him to do so.
Yeah, exactly. And I was too in it to share it at the time. It consumed my day. I didn't have time to share it. I didn't even think about it because I was living it.
Mm. So when you say it consumed your day, what did that
Hmm.
look like?
I think if you live with an alcoholic or you know an alcoholic, you think about them constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You're worried about what's happening if they leave the house, if what are they doing, or even when they're home, you're constantly thinking, you know, is there something I should be doing? Should I be monitoring them? The boundaries, and I know we've talked about boundaries, but the boundaries get lost.
We get so caught up in it all, right? And
Yeah.
I know for me, the idle threats
Mm-hmm.
or the boundaries that if he got to it and didn't do it right, I moved
Mm-hmm.
the finish line to give him another chance.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do things like that?
That is so true. Um, yes. And and then the finish line just keeps moving and my boundary just kept getting lower and lower and lower. And the things that I would put up with or even, dare I say, make excuses for
Mm-hmm.
just became the norm.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
were there children involved in this marriage?
Stepchildren. my
Okay.
stepchildren.
And were they living with you?
Mhm.
And so now
Yeah.
you're taking care of young children, teenagers.
Oh, teenagers. Yes.
Oh,
Which
then that's a good
is,
time.
yeah, which is something completely different on its own. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
then you're dealing with your husband's
Uh-huh.
alcoholism.
Yes. Yeah, they're teenagers. Yeah. One is 19 now, and then I have twin 17-year-olds.
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And then your feelings. So you're dealing with all
Yeah.
this stuff, and how did you do it? How
You know, day by day.
mm-hmm,
Um, I for probably I'm a Virgo, so I like to control things. I like order. I like knowing what to expect. And so those were the boundaries that I kind of set. Like I knew every morning we were going to do this, and every day we were going to do this. And when things were really bad, every week the kids and I would go out to dinner. It would be a judge-free zone. Um, and so that was good for me. I think it was good for them as well. It's something we probably should pick back up again now, but
mm-hmm.
um yeah, those getting through the days, I filled my day with taking care of people and working because work was something I could control.
Mm-hmm. And you talk about isolation.
Hmm.
Did just you isolate? Did the kids isolate? Did he isolate? What was that like in your family?
I think everyone did in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my friend circle got very small. I didn't chat with my family a ton because I think on the back they knew what was happening, but they never really knew how bad things were. And his friends isolated, like he lost his friends. There are quite a few family members who could not be with him or around him because they couldn't understand what was happening. And it was frustrating for them because they couldn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever they said wasn't going to change his behavior. And I think that was really hard for them to understand.
And people say some of the meanest things to us.
Oh, it was awful. Like some of the things that really were said made me want to put even bigger isolation bubble around us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because
which
it's
is not healthy.
no, and I get it because I isolated too, and I think it's just that fear of, falling apart out in public, the fear
Hmm.
of somebody coming up and saying, I know," it
Yeah.
it's all these emotions and just we're just trying to keep our head above water.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get tired enough that I'll actually fall asleep and
Mm,
then wake up and do it all over again.
right, those sleepless nights
Hmm.
with the what ifs, the could ifs, and the should ifs.
Hmm. Yep. And I don't know about you, but sleep was very hard to come by just because I, I mean, Mark, when he was on a bender, he never slept
Oh, and that was with
ever.
alcoholism, just
Ye-
alcohol, or was he
Yeah,
doing crystal meth?
no, just alcohol. And
Really?
he would nap all day, in and out all day,
Oh.
and he would be up all night. And so sleep was it became really, really important to me. Like honestly, kind of a mission because I knew I was not going to get any sleep. And if I didn't have any sleep, I wouldn't be able to help him. I wouldn't be able to focus on the kids. I wouldn't be able to work. Yeah. So I mean, that was a big one for me.
So what did you do?
You know what? I would always have to go to bed before him. And I really got into a lot of herbal stuff to help me like fall asleep,
Mhm.
and acupuncture.
I did that. Yeah.
I love it. That
Yeah.
helped. Honestly, that helped a lot.
Yeah. One of the things I did is back in the day, I had a
Hmm.
portable CD player and I
Mm,
would put like brainwave therapy, alpha,
hmm.
beta, theta,
I do that too. Still,
right?
I love it.
And it would just take me
Yeah.
away from my pain
Yep.
and take me out of myself, remove the ego, the fear, everything, and just I would get a peaceful night's sleep. Because not only was I dealing with my son's addiction, I was also in menopause
Oh my God,
back then, which,
that is a very dangerous combination.
was not a good time, let me tell you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Passion and my mission is to help people find the right path for them because there's no right way to navigate through this.
No, when I used to run my family support groups in person in New Hampshire, I used to say there's no right or wrong way. We all have to find our way because what worked for me may not have worked for you,
Hmm.
Jennifer, and
Hmm.
vice versa.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with taking pieces of all these other different tools and making them your own and finding the
Mhm.
ones that actually do work. And I think that was the hardest part for me was I had been to Al-Anon meetings. They just were not right for me.
Yeah, I get that. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Yeah. And so after that, it's very hard to find a group or people that are willing to share and provide resources and things for you to try that are not just, well, you have to do it this way.
Hmm. And so how long did you deal with his alcoholism?
About 5.5 years. The last two were it was consuming.
Mm. And where is he today?
He passed away.
I'm sorry to hear
Thank you. I think that's when I finally realized the last year I had already started grieving. And when he had passed, it really gave me, I don't know, the courage or the freedom to share my story because I'm not ashamed of it. I probably would have shared more of it while I was going through it, but there was no space left
that. Right,
to
right.
help and share and do that kind of stuff. But it really is my passion. It really is my mission. There has to be more that we can do for the families
Hmm. Yeah.
because we're feeling it too. And for every one person who is an alcoholic, there's 10 people that person is affecting. And they
Yep.
may not know they're affecting you. I mean, they're so caught up in their own alcoholism that they can't focus on what they're doing with other people, but that doesn't mean that they don't need help also.
Mm. Yeah. And I was just writing a blog on the silent scream, how,
Oh, yeah, I love that.
right? Internally, they're screaming for help, but they don't want the help that we're willing to give, which is, well, we'll support you to go to treatment. We'll,
Mhm.
help you do this, but we're not going to throw money at you and we're not going to give you a place to live for nothing and you can continue to drink or drug.
Mhm.
So, and it's just how everybody handles it, how what they're feeling and what we're feeling.
Over the course of like 5.5, 6 years, we had been to rehab detox 4 times,
Hmm.
in and out of the hospitals, especially the last 2 years, I would say 6 hospital visits. And he was ill. I mean, he was dealing with a lot of physical issues from it, but the help is just it it's all or nothing. It's
Well, they're taught pain management. They're not taught about addiction,
no.
unfortunately. And so that adds to the scream, the internal scream for
Hmm.
help, because no matter where they go, unless somebody has either walked in their shoes,
Hmm.
understands, and that's why you go to treatment facilities. But my understanding is a lot of the treatment facilities aren't really equipped for alcoholism or cannabis. It's more opioids than
Yeah.
anything. And so, what do you do with that?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's so true because every single time he was leaving one of those, he would say, "I didn't belong there.
Hmm.
Those were not my people." He's like,
Hmm.
"I didn't understand what they were going through. They didn't understand what I was going through." And you're right. I mean, they're not meant for that. And the other thing too is that I really want to change with the app is when you bring someone to one of those facilities, they give the person dropping them off nothing. I'm like,
I
do you
know.
have any resources for me? Or like, what am I supposed to expect? Or, well, we'll
Yeah.
call you in 24 hours and let you know how he's doing.
Yeah.
Well, I,
Yeah.
I like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, I'm one of the other things this year in my grand scheme of plans is to really dive into some of those facilities and meet with them and be like, hey, this is a resource for the people who are dropping off the addict. Please give this to them because they need something too.
I remember taking my son to a detox, and I think might have been the first place. So I went out and bought presents 'cause for him to
Yeah.
go. So we had some nice stuff, and we took him out to lunch and trying to make it a happy time. And we get to this facility, and the door is glass, but it's all blacked out. And we're walking in, mom and dad. We're taking our
Mhm.
child here, and the guy puts his foot across the doorway,
Mhm.
holds the door open, has my son like climb over his leg and say bye, and close
Mhm.
the door.
Yeah.
I was horrified. And then I
Yes.
oh, well, we don't have anybody by that name. It was the most horrific thing when you're new to this world that
Yes.
somebody has your child and they're not telling you about where they are or how they are.
Yes. And I'm so I'm so glad you shared that because every single time I would drop them off, I was mortified. Like
Hmm.
I mortified.
They make us
And I'm
feel like
thinking,
crap for loving.
yes.
Yep.
Yes. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm the one who's been keeping them alive.
Right. Yeah.
That's something that I really feel if facilities can look at it a different way, if they can provide some sort of resource for us, then we're there to we're behind them. We're like, you guys do what you got to do inside there because we have a community of people that we can go to as well because I remember getting so angry
Hmm.
when he was there thinking he's getting all this help, what am I getting?
Right. And when we don't get the help because we don't understand, then we're toxic to their recovery because
Yes.
we don't know to change our behaviors because I
Hmm.
don't know about you, but I was addicted to my son. He became my
Hmm.
drug of choice.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No one's talking about that.
No, but it's true.
It is
I
very true.
mean, it's it's terrifying
Yeah.
on this side when you
Yeah.
drop someone off and you think, okay, well, I know how to deal. I know what to expect of that person, but when they come back, I have no idea who that person is going to be.
Well, and that's a good point because what happens, especially with when and it's a husband wife partner, that if you've only known each other where he's drinking, and
Hmm.
now you're meeting the sober version of him, you have to get reacquainted.
Yeah, like
And
our days
do that.
changed.
That's right.
Everything changes. But
Hmm.
there's no, I mean, he's getting a ton of help
Yeah.
physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever. And I'm just on the outside, supposed to go about my normal day, but that was my normal day.
Yeah. It's really hard, and it takes time until you're unique because you found your voice and your passion like I did, right?
Hmm.
And now you want to put it out there and you want to make change. And my
Hmm.
understanding is the way that you're doing your change is for the family because we
Hmm.
understand the impact. And so you have created an app. Can you talk about that or how you
Yeah.
went from maybe feeling helpless and hopeless to creating this app?
Came from a very strange place, to be honest. I was going out of town for work and it kind of took shape while he was still with us, but going out of town for work and my all three of my teenagers were going to be gone, which is very rare, to be honest. And I could tell he was going on a bender, like he was
Hmm.
just at the beginning of one, and I didn't have anyone to watch the dog. And
Mm.
I thought at that moment, I really wish I had a community of people who know what it's like to live with an alcoholic, who I could call up and be like, hey, I'm going to be out of town for 2 days. Would you be comfortable coming in and just feeding my dog? But I couldn't, I couldn't call Rover
Mm.
and just be like, hey, I'm going out of town. There's someone here. He may or may not be passed out on the floor. I don't know. But if I had a community of people who knew and understood that, like if someone had, if I was in a community and someone asked me to do that, I would have no problem because I've been around it. I've witnessed it. Like it's not foreign or scary or, new. And so that's really where it came from. And all of a sudden I started thinking, I have access to an attorney, an estate planner, financial planners. What do people who are in this situation, what do they do if they don't have access to those things
Mm.
and they're in a dangerous situation? And I just thought that has to change. Like we have to have a community of people who there is no shame in it and
Mhm.
who get it.
Mhm.
And there has to be a place where they can find the resources they need, whether it's a coach or an advisor or a mental coach, or it could be anything, a psychologist. But we have to be able to have a place where, maybe somebody needs to leave. They're in an abusive relationship,
Yeah.
but to the outside world, no one knows that and it looks amazing and they need to, what would happen if they went to divorce that person and they would get half custody or whatever without knowing how to navigate that situation
Mhm.
um, legally. It's just it was one of those things that made me go, oh, this is a much bigger problem
Yeah.
than me just not having somebody to watch my dog.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing that how as we go into this journey, what our eyes are open to, the
Hmm.
needs for people that to support them who are
Yeah.
supporting somebody who's sick and suffering.
Hmm.
Right. It's a ripple effect. But
Yeah.
our job is to help them feel better, not to feel better, because we can never make anybody feel better. That's an internal thing. But we
Hmm.
can do what we can to help them or guide them to
Yeah.
get to where they need to be. And so now you do coaching as well, correct?
I don't.
Oh,
No,
you
I
don't.
actually have my real job is an ad agency.
Oh, geez.
I know, I know. But yeah, I owned a dance studio for 15 years, and then when I sold it, I just loved marketing and social. And so that's what we do now. We run ads for dance studios. But the transition was like, okay, I can reach the right people,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to be able to put something in their hand that they're using every single day,
Mm-hmm.
that if they need it, if they need to ask a question to find community, or they need to ask a question to maybe do a consultation with an attorney, like, or a financial planner, like I need to leave, but how do I set my finances up so that I can leave?
Yeah.
Those were the things that I was like, those that needs to be in somebody's hand. And I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
guess I'm creating an app.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, and for the person who is in newly recovery, you know, there's a lot of new tools that they need to learn too. So I would think eventually, when they get sober, they can tap into those resources
Hmm.
to give them that value that they're looking for to live a healthier, happy life.
Yeah, and to help other people, because if they're recovering alcoholic, they're a fantastic resource
Hmm.
for families who are dealing with it because they give us a different perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for years with my family sharing without shame, every was it once a month or every other week, I always had a person in recovery come and speak to the
Hmm.
parents because they provided hope.
Hmm.
Because we never know when the miracle is going to happen. But as long
Right.
as they're still walking on this earth, there's always an opportunity for it to happen.
Hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So, but it's hard when you're living in that chaos and crisis to keep our heads above water, to not feel like we're
Mhm.
drowning. And even for us, sometimes when
Mhm.
someone throws us out a life preserver, we don't always grab it.
No, because I don't necessarily always trust it. And I think, we could talk about that as well, but unless somebody has some experience, has lived a version of what you have lived, it's hard to trust them because you feel like you don't get it.
Right. So this app is a life preserver,
Mm-hmm. It is.
and people have a choice. You can either
Mm-hmm.
grab on or not. One of the things that I would do with the parents is, if they really needed somebody, they would send each other a
Mm-hmm.
picture of a life preserver to say, I need help.
Yeah.
And then they taught their kids that if you really, when you really want help, just send a life preserver, text message it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll know, I'll find you, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll find you no matter where
Yeah.
you are, because that's what
It's
we do.
it's so funny you said that because one of the things that's in the app that I forget to bring up when I'm talking about it is there is an emergency section in there because sometimes you're in a situation that just needs to be de-escalated.
Mm-hmm.
And the family member or the person can preset emergencies, like contacts, and there's little buttons in there that they can say, "Hey, if I need you to come over." Because
Mm.
if someone else comes over, 9 times out of 10, maybe they're in a situation that needs to be de-escalated, and somebody else shows up, and then the situation gets de-escalated. Or, there's they can hit a button, and then that person can like call them back right away. But I forget to talk about that because you're right. Sometimes you just need somebody to be like, hey, I need you right now.
Yeah. And what about adding like a prayer chain to that? That prayer can be
Oh my
great.
God. Yeah. So inside of there in the community, you can create your own thread and add people into the thread, and it could definitely be it could be whatever you want it.
Oh, that's cool. Because we
Hmm.
found that really powerful. When a parent would come to a meeting and tell us what was going on with their child, we would all, send out a prayer. And then I had
Hmm.
started a private Facebook group, and it would just be a day where they might put a little note out that
Hmm.
I need help, and we would do whatever. And it just, having that sense of community
Hmm.
when we're feel so lonely in
Yeah.
what's happening in our life with our loved one is so important. And
Yeah.
it, for anybody out there listening that's going through what Jennifer went through, what I went through, is that we're here to help. We're here to love you, support
Hmm.
you, and whatever you need, we're here. We're going to pick you
Yeah.
up. We're going to lift you up. And
Yeah.
if we have to help you walk to where you need to go, we're going to do that, because
Yeah.
we know that feeling when we were in the fetal position and there was nobody there to pick us up,
Hmm.
and we had to
Yeah.
do it all by ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
we
so
did.
lonely
But
time.
now we're ready. We're ready to bring up the masses, I think. I think you're right with the celebrations. Sometimes it's the little wins. Sometimes just getting into a group and going, I showered today, I made my bed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing too, because there is so much stigma and shame, and I remember people coming to my meeting, and we always went around the room to say our name, and I have a son or a daughter who is in active addiction, and we never labeled, we always talked about our children as
Hmm.
the beautiful souls that they are. And sometimes the first time that someone would say out loud that I have a child who's addicted to heroin or
Hmm.
whatever the drug of choice was, they would just sob. They would
Hmm.
just sob, and sometimes they could barely say their names.
Hmm.
But in time, the way that we ran the groups and took, helped each other, eventually they could say their name, and when somebody else came in who was
Hmm.
so hurt, they could hold their hand and support.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the power of the community. And I think there's no judgment in it because no one wanted to be in any of these situations. It just is.
Right.
And
And we judge ourselves. We don't
yeah,
need anyone else to judge us. We're doing
no,
it all by ourselves. Thank you very much.
we're doing a great job of that all by ourselves. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
so
don't tell
true.
me I've gained weight. I know.
Yeah.
Can you tell me or tell the listeners how important it is for them to reclaim themselves, to move forward, and even when their loved one is sick and suffering, do you have one thing that really worked for you that maybe could help them? Might not be perfect for them, but it might be something that stimulates an idea.
You know what? It's one small thing every day. It may seem like
Hmm.
you need to take some big, grand steps towards finding your independence again because
Yeah.
right or wrong, we're codependent
Yeah.
on them. And
Yeah.
that's just we did that to ourselves.
Yeah.
So we're just going to be like, okay, great, I did it. How do I separate that but still be present for them, be what they
Hmm.
need, but
Hmm.
still start to do, stuff for me. Mine was going for a walk. I had stopped doing that when things got really bad. I had stopped taking my little dog for a walk and literally just going for a walk for 10 minutes at first, and then it got a little bit more, and then it got a little bit more, but leaving the situation while he was still there. But
Yeah.
it had been years I had stopped doing that, and I loved it.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
just one little thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing.
Nope.
It's just one thing. And it doesn't have to be multiple things a day. It could literally just be the one thing. And you can go to bed going, you know what? I did that one thing for me today.
Yeah. Yeah. My thing was when I started, I wrote what I was grateful for in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. And I couldn't get out of bed till I was grateful for something. And I'd be like,
Yep.
oh, I opened my eyes today. Big deal. Oh, pathetic
That is
me.
a big deal.
'Cause yeah, but I was in victim mode. So,
Right.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but eventually that like, oh, I opened my eyes today became a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to write, and then I was feeling grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was able to put one foot in front of the other. And
Yep.
so no matter what it is, you're right. It's that one
Yep.
little something that's going to start
Mm-hmm.
progress
Mm-hmm.
in the healing process.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, do you
Mm-hmm.
have, first of all, how would people get in touch with you about the app? Where do they go for that?
Yeah, so you can email me contact at ConnectMio, or you can just head over to the app stores
Okay,
and
and that's
you'll find it in there.
ConnectMio, capital MIO. It's one word.
Correct, one word.
Yep.
Yeah.
And before we go, words of wisdom
Mhm.
for all the listeners.
There's no right path. You'll
Mm,
find a path and it'll be your own, but there's no right path.
awesome. Well, thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
coming
me.
on. I really appreciate it. Your message is
Thank you.
powerful.
I'm so glad that we made this connection because we have so much in common.
I know. I know. Thanks again.
Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to support the Sharing Without Shame podcast, please subscribe, like, and leave a review. If you're in need of emotional support, Donna offers private sessions. For more information about Donna and the services she offers, visit www.sharingwithoutshame.com or email her at donna4support@comcast.net. Nothing in the Sharing Without Shame podcast is intended to establish a therapist-patient relationship or intended to replace the services of a trained therapist, doctor, or health professional, or substitute for professional mental health, medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Until next time, may your faith and strength heal your heart.